This is the Green Beret who went on a one-man rampage to save his comrades. Say what's up to YouTube chat. Yeah, let's get into this.
The Green Beret who went on a one-man rampage. Roy Benavidez.
Roy, he said, hi, YouTube. Let's go. Roy Benavidez.
Roy Benavidez's life had been rough as a child. Both his parents had died. He was bullied by his classmates because of his mixed Yaqui Indian and Mexican heritage and had to leave school in 8th grade to help his family.
Did you ever get bullied growing up?
At the age of 19, Benavidez joined the Army, serving in the Korean War in the Texas Army National Guard. He married Hilaria Lala Coy Benavidez in 1959.
Bet she was a baddie.
Completed airborne training, becoming assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division. In 1966, Sergeant Roy Benavidez was in hospital.
Moving up the ranks.
Doctors said he would never walk again. He had
right, but let me,
in 1965,
this is Roy Benavidez we're talking about here.
ARVN troops there. Benavidez was carrying out a classified operation alone.
Is this how he got his legs blown off?
Vietnamese troops were posing as Viet Cong.
What's happening here?
While he was on patrol along a narrow trail disguised as a Viet Cong.
Oh, this is definitely.
He stepped
oh no, but man, you gotta watch where you.
Sometime later,
you gotta watch where you're stepping.
Marines came across Benavidez. They initially thought it was a booby trap, but were surprised when they flipped him over and discovered the man in Viet Cong pajamas was Hispanic and wearing U.S. Army dog tags.
That's odd. That's out of place.
Soon evacuated to the hospital.
Lucky they even checked him at all.
2 months later, Benavidez had recovered and awoke. His memories came back to him. The doctor told him he would never walk again. His spine had been damaged, and his brain had rattled in his skull. Nevertheless, Benavidez, sitting in his wheelchair, begged the doctors not to discharge him from the Army. The Army was his life. Determined, Benavidez got up from his bed night after night, dragging himself to the wall and putting weight on his legs. For weeks, he pushed through the pain, going further in distance than before, which surprised the doctors. 6 months later, with his wife Lala's support,
that's crazy.
Benavidez walked out of the hospital. He was
this guy was Superman.
A desk job at Fort Bragg, North Carolina,
but he don't want a desk job.
Exercising every day, he trained.
What's next? He became a SEAL
for the Special Forces, also known as the Green Berets. He
Green Berets
to Detachment B-56, 5th Special Forces Group Airborne, 1st Special Forces.
Sheesh. This guy was a tank. 6 hours in hell.
Now
sounds like a good time.
Staff Sergeant Roy Benavidez, now with the code name Tango Mike Mike, was back in Vietnam and was off duty attending church, but his mind was fixed on the panicking radio chatter from the front lines. In Loc Ninh, Vietnam, near the Cambodian border, a 12-man Special Forces reconnaissance team, which included his close friends, Sergeant First Class Leroy Wright, Staff Sergeant Lloyd Frenchie Mousseau.
Said it was his friends, so he like. I mean, yeah, I guess if you're in the Berets, like you're probably pretty close to
part of the Civilian Irregular Defense Group program, or CIDG, were surrounded by a battalion numbering 1,000 battle-hardened North Vietnamese soldiers.
Damn!
Everyone in the unit had been wounded or killed in earlier fighting, and 3 of the helicopters sent to rescue them had been unable to extract them due to heavy enemy fire. When the
damn, we're in a tight spot. That's what they said.
Bullets.
Damn,
one of them,
we're in a tight spot.
Michael Craig, age 19,
no,
hit
Craig,
times and died in Benavidez's arms.
Michael, bro.
There was no way Benavidez was going to leave his friends out in the jungle. Benavidez jumped onto a returning helicopter that was going back in, volunteering so quickly that he didn't have time to get his M16, so was only armed with a
Rambo
and medical supplies. Benavidez described it as going into autopilot. As he was approaching the extraction zone,
this is real life Rambo.
His fellow team members were too
this is real life Rambo.
On the distance to the helicopter, there was so much enemy gunfire that the pilot Larry McKibben had to zigzag in an attempt to dodge it, but was nevertheless able to provide covering fire. Benavidez
driving
medical bag, ran through the jungle to the wounded men under heavy
plus 200 respect mission pass. Let's go.
Leg, which he initially thought was a thorn bush. Mousseau first.
Got something jump up and bit me in the buttocks, like his leg, brother. His freaking eyes hanging out of his head, chat.
The CIDG.
Nah, it's GG's, bro. He's got to go back to the lobby.
Patched up as best they could. Benavidez dragged everyone into a defensible position to direct their fire at the enemy and provided morphine to the wounded. He then saw O'Connor and an interpreter CIDG who he motioned to move over to him, but the gunfire started again and they took cover.
They're outrunning like 1,000 to 12 right here. This is crazy.
Adrenaline, he popped the green smoke for McKibben in the rescue helicopter to pick them up. While everyone who could move got into the chopper, he suppressed the tree line with an AK-47 he had picked up
One-handed,
to cover O'Connor
been
and the
shot.
interpreter who crawled towards
He's
the
been
helicopter.
shot in legs
Now
that have
Benavidez
previously
was looking
been
for
blown
the team
up.
leader, Sergeant First Class Leroy Wright, who had been killed.
No,
Also had
Leroy, the
intel on him that
homie. He's
could
got
not
the
get into
intel, bro. They
enemy hands.
cannot get that.
Benavidez found his body and proceeded to drag him to the chopper.
Cannot
He
get
was
that.
shot
They
again,
cannot
this
have
time
it.
in the stomach and hit in the back by shrapnel
Oh,
from a nearby
bro.
grenade,
Oh.
knocking him out.
He's got to be
He
done.
awoke. Benavidez was forced to leave his dead friend's body.
He woke up from that.
Disaster had
Okay.
also struck. The
Okay.
chopper
A lot of
had
people,
crashed to
one
the
shot
ground
to the
from
leg, they're
fire.
done. A shot to the stomach, they're done. A
Pilot,
grenade to the
was
back,
dead.
they're definitely done. He's
5
had
of
all
the men
3
on board,
today. He doesn't
including
care.
Rousseau, survived the crash, as did O'Connor and the interpreter who didn't get into the helicopter.
And he survived a freaking
Benavidez
plane crash,
pulled
a
them out of the
helicopter
wreckage,
crash. Oh
dispensed
my
morphine,
god.
set up a perimeter around the crash site, and called in heavy air support from the F-100s above, which dropped napalm
Dropping
on the enemy
napalm.
position. When the
Oh,
jets
that's
ran out
heavy.
of fuel and had to leave, the enemy machine gun fire started again. Benavidez gave O'Connor a 3rd shot of morphine and took another bullet to the leg.
Not
The
another
position
to the leg,
surrounded
bro.
by North Vietnamese
2
soldiers.
to the leg,
It
1 to
looked
the stomach,
hopeless.
grenade to the back.
But a helicopter finally came to their rescue.
Helicopter
Benavidez and the
crash.
rescue team carried and dragged the wounded men onto the chopper, but the landing zone was still being fired upon by NVA troops, to the extent that 2 men were shot in the back as they crawled to it. Shrapnel wounds to his
No.
face from earlier caused Benavidez's vision to be blurred from the blood.
Shrapnel
in
to the
his eyes.
face as well.
When he went to get
No.
Rousseau, an NVA soldier butted his rifle into Benavidez's
Get
head
smashed
and
in the
jaw and
face,
slashed his arm
bro.
with his bayonet.
Oh my
He
god.
shouted to O'Connor to shoot, but he was too drugged from morphine to react. Benavidez pulled out his Bowie knife
O'Connor,
and
bro. I
stabbed
gotta
the
do
NVA
everything
soldier till he
myself,
was dead.
man. Where's my
He then
team,
dragged Rousseau to the
bro?
helicopter and killed
That's
2
exactly
more
what he was
NVA with
thinking.
AK-47
Where's my
who were out of
team,
the
bro? He's
helicopter's
one
side
shot
gun
right in
of
front
fire.
of me. Get it,
Then
like.
he made one more trip to get the interpreter and destroy any classified material with blood still
This is the
obscuring
toughest
his
soldier
vision.
that ever lived. This is Rambo.
Only then
This is the
did he
greatest.
allow the others to pull him onto the helicopter. The last man
Another one to the
leave
chest, bro.
battlefield.
Next to the heart. So
At
2
this
to the
point,
leg, 1 to the
the round
stomach,
that hit
shrapnel
his
to the back,
stomach
shrapnel to the
exposed
face.
his intestines, which he was
Hit in the
trying to
face with a
hold in
rifle to
his
break
hand.
his cheek. Arm
The
cut with a
helicopter,
bayonet.
badly shot
Another
up
one to the
with
chest.
no instruments left, managed to take off.
Hell, survived a helicopter crash too. After being told he would never walk again, this guy,
When they landed,
you do not want to run
wounded
ones
were
with this guy,
unloaded and
Chad.
examined one
Not
by
fair. It's
one.
not a fair fight.
But it turned
This
out
is
that Benavidez had even loaded 3 dead
No.
enemy soldiers into the helicopter in case they had classified materials. They were left to the
Jeez.
side, as was Benavidez. He couldn't move or speak because of the broken jaw from the rifle butt. The blood over his eyes had glued them shut, and with 37 bayonet, bullet, and shrapnel wounds all over his body, he looked dead.
got him in
Medics
both
started
arms
placing
too.
him in a body bag and started zipping
No,
him
that
up,
couldn't
and
have
a
been
friend
the end
noticed
though,
him and
right?
said,
Like he made it
"That's
that far.
Roy.
He
That's
lived.
Roy Benavidez." The doctor said there was nothing that could be done, but Benavidez mustered his last bit of energy and spat in the doctor's face, causing the doctor to say,
Crazy.
"I think he'll make it." He was flown to
Yo.
Japan for intensive surgery.
What are you doing
then
if your
Brooke
patient
Army
does
Medical
that?
Center, Fort Sam Houston.
You're zipping them
where
up
he
in a
stayed
body
for
bag
almost
and
a
they
year.
spit in your face.
Roy Benavidez had survived 6 hours.
Crazy.
in hell
I'd freak out,
and
bro.
Saved 8 lives. Benavidez's commander had put him in for the Distinguished Service Cross because the process for awarding a Medal of Honor would take much longer, and he was unsure if Benavidez would live or die before he could have received it. Finally, on February 24th, 1981, President Ronald Reagan would present Roy Benavidez the Medal of Honor. Reagan said if the story of his heroism were a movie script, you would not believe it. Benavidez
Yeah,
said
you
of
wouldn't
his
believe it. I
actions,
just sat here and
"The
watched it and I
real
don't believe
heroes
it,
are
but
the
like I
ones
know
who
it's
gave
real.
their lives for their country. I don't like
It's
to
heavy,
be called
bro.
a hero. I just did.
This guy
what I
deserves
was
the Medal of
trained
Honor.
to do. Master Sergeant Roy
Yeah,
Benavidez
you were not trained to
died on
do
November
that, buddy.
29th,
You were not
1998,
trained to do that.
age
You
of
were trained to do
63.
maybe some of that or all of that in their own like in a separate instance, you know. Ooh, this day
Subscribe
occurs,
for
this
more
event
Vietnam
happens,
War
you do
history
one of the
videos.
things. Ooh, another, you do another of the things. And you usually don't do it after being wounded, but you did it all in one day while wounded, severely, repeatedly. Buddy was him. Buddy was him, chat. GG's.